welcome to Final Vortex, where we review all your favourite albums. We're reviewing Welcome to the Black Parade. The band consists of 5 members, with lead singer Jared Way and his brother Mikey Way on bass. We have Ray Toro on lead guitar, Frankie Iero on rhythm guitar, and then Bob Breyer on drums. For me, this is one of the few albums which is like perfect all around, which is going to become like a household name, which will be passed from generation to generation. Because whenever I mention this album to people, even if they don't particularly like this type of music, they'll always pick key songs from it, whether it's Teenagers, The Black Parade, House of Wolves. Someone will always know these songs and always relate to them in some way or another. So for me, My Chem's quite a nostalgic band, in a sense, because I've grew up with them, in a sense, because I was introduced to them by one of my mum's friends. So basically my mum's friend burnt me like a little disc of this album, and I just listened to it on repeat because I've always liked monsters and like vampires, werewolves, that sort of stuff, anything like mythical, especially like the Sharpest Lives and the House of Wolves, when like vampires are being referenced and so on. It just really drew me in as a kid. And then when I saw the music video for the Black Parade, where they're on like the big float, and obviously they got like the undead like marching band, if you will, yeah, it just really drew me in. And I just love like the theatrical side of stuff, and that sort of stuff just draws me in. And I like the fact that with that, famous last words, I don't love you, and so much more, they make sure like the music and the videos all like intertwine, and it's just so perfect because Jared Way's like vocals just reach new heights. So yeah, he like kicks ass at like the slow stuff and the melodies. But when you reach a song like House of Wolves, where it's just like a madman singing really fast, but very melodic at the same time, it's just incredible what he can do. Like this whole album has an aggressive vibe to it, where it's also very fast paced with those slow moments in it. But even though it's so aggressive, mainly with the drums, you can still hear everything perfectly, whether it's like drum tracks on top of each other, the same with the guitars and the bass. Everything in this album just fits so well, and it's just really brilliant to listen to, especially when the music really kicks in and then like the guitar solos hit, and then just take you like on a wild ride. Whereas like the more aggression side of it is definitely the drums, but then like it's evened out with the guitars and the bass, and then obviously the vocal chords. You can also tell when they were making this album that they put like so much effort into it, and they were like trying to experiment with different ways you can like create the sounds instrumentally and vocally, rather than just putting out songs or an album for the sake of it. Like you can definitely tell they put a lot of time and effort into this album. And I think also with My Chem, they're one of those sort of bands where each album is just better and better every time. But then you can also go back to like the older albums, such as this one, and compare it to like the latest one and think, yeah, this one still holds up to the new one, if not even more. And I think that's why they're going to become like a really household name, such as like Metallica or Avenged Sevenfold, because the music's always going to be like in your face. You're always going to know who they are, like no matter what type of vibe they're going for on that album, you're always going to know it's them. And I always feel like the music's going to always be like very harnessing and draw you in. This album has a combination of many vibes, whether it's upbeat, slow, or a combination of the two. But either way, you just know you're going to go in for a wild ride, and you're just going in head first, because this album's just going to make you feel immersed in the moment, and it's just going to really draw you in. With songs like This Is How I Disappear, Sharpest Lives, like they're probably like 2 of my favourite songs on the album, but I love every single song on this album. The only one I'd say I've kind of like been pushed slightly away from is probably Teenagers, because when I was growing up, it was just everywhere. It was always on Kerrang, on Scuzz. In school, everyone would always have that one playing, and it kind of put me off it a little bit. But like as I'm older and looking back at it, it's still just an immense song, and fits so well in with this record. So after such a fast-paced song, such as The Black Parade, to then go to I Don't Love You, which is a slow song about confessing you no longer have those emotions and feelings towards someone. It's done in a way that just fits so perfectly, because you'd think after going from something so fast-paced to something very slow, it'd be like, oh, to put like a damper on the album, like it just comes to a halt almost. But with that song, even though it's about sadness. The guitars and the drums are still uplifting, if that makes sense. And then especially near the end of the song where it really kicks in and then moves on to the next track, it just all blends perfectly, and it sort of gives you like that sense of relief, like, oh, this album isn't just in your face and fast paced, which is what I love about albums. But even though it has like that like little slow break, it just kind of lets your mind rest and relax and prep you for what's about to come next. This is probably in my top 10 of favourite albums all around, purely because not only like the nostalgia of it, but because over the years when I've listened to a lot of new bands and different artists and soundtracks, I always find myself going back to this one particular album. I just feel immersed in the music and I never get sick of listening to it. And then with a song such as The Sharpest Lies, so with this album as well, there's so many like lines in the different tracks which catch your attention and just stick in the mind, and I think that's something that works really well. Just famous last words where he says he's looking into a jet black mirror and you're so weak. Like that line it's just fucking kick ass, to be completely honest. And then with The Sharpest Lies, there's a place in the dark where the animals go, you can take off the skin in the cannibal glow. It just makes me think of like a man or a woman entering the moonlight and just ripping the flesh off themselves to reveal like their werewolf and like animalistic side within them. Yeah, stuff like that just like really like attracts me and makes me feel more immersive into the music. And yeah, I just can't say like how amazing this album is and how much I love it. Essentially, I definitely highly recommend it. I know they've done like a few different versions of this album, like vinyl wise. So I know they have like the picture disc, which has the same artwork on both sides, a standard black disc, and then a standard black disc with like a bit of a twist on it, which is the one I've got, which I'll show you. There's like a swirl effect where it's got black and white on it. I think all the styles of these discs look really amazing and outstanding. But I think even if you just had the black disc, it would fit really well with this album because obviously it's the Black Parade and the colour is going to symbolise the title of the album. There's somewhat darkness behind it. Yeah, I always think like when the art and the discs match in like a piece like this, like it just makes it more exciting to know that you have like a disc that matches the album rather than just having like a generic coloured disc which doesn't really have much meaning behind it. I know a lot of people don't mind just having like plain vinyls, but I always prefer to like get the coloured ones. With the artwork for the album as well, I didn't know this until recently. I was watching a video about Jared's Way going shopping in the comic book store, and he said that the artist James Jean designed the artwork for the album and also went on to helping do some of the artwork for his TV show The Umbrella Academy and obviously his graphic novel as well, which I think is really nice because you can tell they've obviously been close friends, not just colleagues working together, but they've grew a bond and a friendship, and it'd be nice to see if in the future, if they ever do any more albums and stuff, come back together and create amazing artwork such as this. So as you can see for the artwork, you've got the Black Parade march, and so you've obviously got like a horseman, a generic marching band, some creepy ass kids, and then on the back it's the same, just more of the marching band. And then you've got vultures who look like they're waiting to pick the last bit of the flesh off the bone essentially. And then when you open it up, you've got the entire band. I just think this artwork's like really amazing because it's like a massive kingdom behind them which they're like marching away from. But yeah, then on the inside you've got the band and then some of the characters played through the music videos. And then you have like an army soldier here who to me symbolises Song Ghost of You, where soldiers, and then it just sort of symbolises that his ghost in a sense is with them in the Black Parade. So yeah, as you can see, the disc's black with some of the song titles on this one disc, and then as you turn it over, I don't know how well you're going to be able to tell, but you can sort of see that it's also kind of like half normal disc and half picture disc with the Black Parade marching along it, which matches the artwork, which matches the gatefold artwork. So yeah, I don't know how well you can pick that up, but when I opened it at first I thought it was just a black disc, and then I turned it over to see what songs were on the other side, and I noticed it had this sort of like embroidered feeling to it. And obviously this side of the disc doesn't play anything, but it's just really cool to look at. And then it's just something different as well, rather than it's being like a generic picture disc. It's sort of like a little bit more of a subtle silhouette, and yeah, I think it's just a really nice touch to the disc. Like a little insert here, which again has the band on it, the different tracks, and then like all the song like lyrics as well. It kind of looks like a Victorian sort of era like news article where they just sort of like pin it up to a billboard and then allow the public to come and see what's going on, essentially. And I think it's just like a really nice touch, especially with like the little skeleton guy in his little marching band costume. That's quite cute. But yeah, overall this album's just one of the fair few that for me personally I can listen to back to back without being like, oh, I want to skip that song, or not really in the mood for that one, where it's like I just want to listen to it from back to front all the way through without stopping. So as always guys, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and then in the comments below let me know what your favourite song is from this album. Did you pick it up? What's your favourite song by My Chem in general? And until next time, always remember, the Vortex is open.